Be a bright outlook for the rest of the day. Boxed Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Courtesy of Marquis Leisure, you could be driving away with this brand new Elnag Baron 560 motorhome. It comfortably sleeps 4, comes with sky roof, integrated kitchen and bathroom, and is worth over £67,000. And that's not all, as we'll also give you a further £5,000 in tax-free cash to make sure that wherever this motorhome takes you, it takes you there in style. For another chance to win the lot, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB13 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 6th of June. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Tomorrow, voters across England go to the polls.
In a series of council elections.
Mayoral elections and one crucial by-election.
They'll vote on the local issues that matter to them and let the parties know where they stand.
We'll be here throughout the night.
Live around the country.
As the first results come in.
And from 6 a.m. on Friday morning, as it all becomes clearer, we'll be here to discuss what it means for you.
Vote 2025, the people decide, from 11 o'clock tomorrow night.
Only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Headliners on GB News 11 p.m. every night. It's got 3 top comedians going through the next day's newspapers so you don't have to read them, which is great.
That's a good point. He's lying. I mean, maybe he's not lying.
That's Headliners every night from 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. as well on GB News, Britain's news channel.
I've missed you so much. It's 11 o'clock. It means it's time for tomorrow's newspapers tonight. Join us over the next hour to find out. Everyone has come out blazing for Miliband. What is Trump blaming Biden for? And why might one of the new Harry Potter stars lose his job before he even starts? I'm Josh Howie. Tonight, I am thrilled to be joined by Kerry Marks and Archie Manners to take you through Thursday's top stories. This is Headliners. But before tomorrow's news, let's go to tonight's headlines with Katie Bowen.
Josh, thank you and good evening. Your top stories from the GB newsroom. His Majesty the King has reflected on his experiences with cancer as he hosted representatives from community-based cancer organisations and initiatives at Buckingham Palace this evening. The King, alongside Queen Camilla, has thanked those who support cancer patients and their loved ones, praising the profound impact of human connection offered by those working in care. His Majesty said that each new cancer diagnosis will be a daunting and at times frightening experience for those individuals and their loved ones. He went on to quote the late Dame Deborah James, who encouraged everyone to always have rebellious hope. A brief bit of breaking international news this evening. The US and Ukraine signed a deal earlier today to establish a reconstruction investment fund. The US Treasury Department said the deal was made in recognition of the significant financial and material support that the people of the United States have provided to the defence of Ukraine since Russia's full-scale invasion. We'll bring you more on that story as we get it. Sticking with the US, where this evening President Trump has warned of a tariff wall for pharmaceutical companies amid ongoing economic uncertainty in the US. Earlier, the president blamed former President Joe Biden for the fall in America's GDP and also said he has hopes for a trade deal with China during a cabinet meeting after the US economy shrank by 0.3% in the first quarter of this year. Speaking earlier this evening at an Investing in America event, the president said to give his country a little time to get the economy moving. He added that he wants every country to do well, but that they must treat the US fairly. The Chancellor of the Exchequer, Rachel Reeves, is being investigated by the Parliament's Standards Commissioner. The investigation is in relation to a late declaration of free theatre tickets to the National Theatre on the MP's register, although it's understood they were declared on time on a separate register for government ministers. An investigation being launched does not necessarily mean that rules have been broken. A spokesman for the Chancellor said the Chancellor's interests are fully declared and up to date. The officer cleared of murder after fatally shooting Chris Cabba will face a gross misconduct hearing following a review by the police watchdog. Shadow Home Secretary Chris Philps says he's deeply disappointed by the IOPC's decision. A firearms officer shot Mr Cabba in the head after he tried to ram his way out of a police vehicle stop in Streatham in September 2022. Mr Cabba was not armed and the officer was charged with murder and went on trial in October last year, but was cleared after just 3 hours. A helicopter and 6 police cars were involved in stopping the 24-year-old after the Audi he was driving had been linked to a shooting outside a school in Brixton the night before. He died in hospital in the early hours of the next day. And Conservative Party leader Kemi Badenoch questioned whether Sir Keir Starmer was dragging his heels on local inquiries into grooming gangs because he doesn't want Labour's cover-ups exposed. Ms Badenoch once again called for a national inquiry into the issue at Prime Minister's questions today. Just yesterday, Reform UK committed to launching a national statutory public inquiry into the scandal in its first month of government. Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner spoke to reporters earlier.
Well, look, we've had a significant number of inquiries into child sexual exploitation under the previous government and they did nothing with those recommendations. When I spoke to survivors, they said we need to get on, we know what some of these challenges are, we need to get on and implement them, and that's what the Prime Minister said today. We've also set aside £5 million to make sure that they can have local inquiries, and we've also urged the police to make sure that if people come forward, even with historic claims of child abuse, that they must be taken seriously and investigated, and we've been strengthening the powers around that to make sure that that happens.
Those are the latest GB News headlines. Now it's time for Headliners.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Welcome to Headliners. You know the format. We're going to give you the best of tomorrow's newspapers with the best of today's comedians. First things first, have a look at the front pages, though. The Guardian, US downturn amid Trump tariffs trigger fears of global slowdown. Times, solar panels on all new homes in net zero push. The Eye, the King's message of hope for fellow cancer patients. The Daily Mail, now unions reject Ed's green lunacy. The Express, King's gratitude for community of care defying cancer. And the Daily Star, I'm top of the popes. Hello, gentlemen. Hello.
Hello, Josh.
Lovely to see you both.
He's now in this programme.
I have a parasitic infection, so I might die on tonight's show. It's a good reason to keep watching
Ditto.
haters.
I've got a parasitic in the face.
Yours in your eye.
I've got my eyes done. I think one of my stupid kids has touched
my stomach is
bottom and touched my face.
On fire, and I've been prodded and poked. And
so I've got it there. You got it down there.
I'm so glad I'm sitting in the middle of
I think we should get closer to Kerry.
My worry is that if he's the healthy one, it's not great for the future of humanity, is it?
It's not the way it's meant to be.
This is not the way
Never happened before.
Darwin saw it going, that you are the survival of the fittest, you are the fittest. But anyway, I might die, so tune in. It'll be exciting.
It's a long game for me, very slow.
And if you die, I won't be able to see it.
No, you won't be able to see it, so that's fine. That's fine. Anyway, so I might be calmer than normal.
Can you see the newspapers without pooing yourself?
I can do that. So I better lead the way, really. The newspapers are full of stories today about the news, which is convenient. Yeah, they're obsessed with it.
Makes sense.
And the big story on the Daily Mail. Well, there's a story.
You're keeping people waiting. You're teasing them.
I like to slow it down and then speed up as we go. The big story at the top is get a chic summer wardrobe from the supermarket, starting at just £8, which I'm not got anything to say about that. I thought one of you two might be.
I do.
Excited,
that's what slave labour gives you, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, £8 for entire.
Well, that's just starting at, which could just be a pair of pants. We don't know what it ends at, which I would have thought
someone should look into
more
that.
relevant.
If we had Lewis Schaefer here, he could tell us that is the equivalent of 7 Daily Mails.
But unfortunately, he's not here, so we shall continue somehow without him. Now, the big headline. Now, unions reject Ed's, meaning Ed Miliband's, green lunacy. The Daily Mail not hesitating with their opinion on that headline there.
So that's what I like about the Mail.
No, they're always very central.
Yes.
Yeah.
Net zero is beginning to sound like the net means just too many holes, and net zero itself sounding more like less like a climate goal and more like Labour's polling numbers. And now even the big union, their biggest backer. Their biggest backer, Unite, are warning them that they think the policy is too radical.
Yeah,
Unite are saying it's too radical. What does that mean?
It's too left-wing for Unite.
It's lost Unite and Tony Blair now, so there's literally nobody that wants this.
Setting fire to their own support base, and net zero is sounding more like career suicide at the moment. But we'll come to the next page in a bit, which is even Norway are getting stuck in, and Tony Blair. Of course, what happened with Tony Blair was he initially criticised the net zero policies as doomed to fail.
Donald Trump hadn't talked too long yesterday. Sorry, if Donald Trump hadn't talked too much yesterday, people would have seen that news yesterday that he was coming out to speak against net zero. The gist of it being that we need to focus more on carbon capture. We still need to have some fossil fuels, and also it's a vote loser because people sort of the idea of it sounds brilliant. Just like immigration, or not immigration, but just like, asylum seekers. Yes, of course we should have open borders to let everybody in and save people from parts of the world and whatnot. And of course we should save the planet.
Where's whatnot?
But whether this is... well, yeah.
All the way from whatnot.
But the point of it is, Archie, is no one actually explained what net zero really was beyond the concept or how we're
going to do it, which it turns out is going to cost everyone loads of money that we don't have.
Put your hand up, or were you scratching your head?
No, I was just scratching my head.
Oh, were you?
Is that allowed?
I thought you were.
I've got a head full of hair, which I just thought I'd make Josh jealous of.
The whole programme changed.
Yeah, no one realised how we're going to do this. It's going to be very, very expensive. There's a story coming up about new build houses and solar panels. It's going to add. Oh, I don't want to spoil the surprise. Very exciting.
Basically, what happened was Blair said something complex, realised it didn't poll well, and then we all had to pretend he meant the opposite.
Yeah.
Which is what.
I don't know.
It's sort of been a backtrack. It's like his handlers have come in and gone, this is not the right time. Just before.
I think Keir rang up Tony and went, Tony, this is really unhelpful, bud.
Yeah, I don't think it's about poll. I mean, I think Tony Blair is arguably. Whatever you think of him, he understands the British public.
Oh, he's one of the few people who can be right and hated at the same time.
And he knows that this is ultimately going to be a vote loser.
Yep.
And so he's trying to. He's still a Labour.
Well, it's a bit last minute, though, isn't it? You not think?
No, I think.
I mean, if he had done this a little while ago,
because I think they were hoping that that it would be snuck through. And I think now, as more and more people are apparent that first of all, it's going to cost you individually a lot of money, and secondly, that other countries around the world actually, we're all in this together, guys. Come on, net zero.
Yeah, but then China are just like
no one else is joining us.
Yeah, where's the willing? Suddenly there are no willing. And but yeah, I think what happened though, he sort of said the quiet part out loud, and then had to reverse engineer a clarification.
It was a proper U-turn, wasn't it? Within 24 hours.
Yeah,
I mean, it really was. It was. Look over there.
Yeah, it was like building a bridge whilst you're sort of running across it.
It was just mad.
Well, that's the Daily Mail. To the Daily Telegraph. What about this oil? Norway, even Norway's coming out against them.
So Norway has basically said that net zero is bonkers. The people of Norway have had their breakfast this morning. Their energy minister has said we want to develop the North Sea for the long term because the oil and gas industry and service jobs is really important. It turns out that if you like fossil fuels and you think that that has helped advance humanity, like with, you know, electricity, they want to keep it going. And they think that what Labour's doing and the way in which we've turned our back on the North Sea is mental.
Well, it's not that there aren't other ways of getting electricity, but we're just not necessarily there yet.
Exactly, precisely.
Is the point. I mean, of course, if the solar panels are there and everything works and the wind and we've got the storage capacity, battery storage, but we've got a great system.
In the same way that if cars could fly, I wouldn't need EasyJet, but we're not there yet.
Yes,
you know, I still have to have Heathrow Airport.
I think when we've got a country powered by fjords and decency telling us we're going too fast, then we should be listening.
Did you know that we give them 20 billion a year we pay for their gas and oil?
Do we?
20 billion that we give to them that we could be
having ourselves.
What
I don't get is, what is Ed Miliband doing here? Does he really care about net zero, or did he basically fluff being Labour leader and want some kind of legacy?
Absolutely.
Is it really just about him not being the man that ate a bacon sandwich when he dies? Is he like rewriting the first line of his obituary? That's what
Please
do you know what I mean?
replace the bacon sandwich
Because I think right now the first line of his
maybe.
obituary, Ed Miliband tragically died, most well known for eating a bacon sandwich, embarrassingly. Full stop.
I basically believe he's actually genuinely sincere, but probably too sincere.
I think
he's
the bacon sandwich situation, what happened is he doesn't want the UK to be able to have the power to make bacon.
Yes, he wants to prevent any future Labour leader going through the same sheer embarrassment of bacon sandwiches.
He wants us to eat bacon raw.
Yeah.
He
wants to raw dog bacon.
All of us in together as revenge.
He's a funny little man, though. I met him once.
Oh, yeah?
He was very, very nice.
OK, well,
are we going to touch any other stories quickly?
One other I'd like to touch on is Labour selling off school fields, which isn't particularly funny, but it's very, very worrying.
Well, it's worrying for you, because you went to school that had school fields.
Well, we had so many school fields. We had too many in many ways.
Right.
We should sell off... most of England was my school field.
Your school fields had
fields. Yeah.
Are you saying you should have been giving them away?
I never went to... We would give them away. I never went to the fields because it involved sport, and that's for people with low IQ. But
what about smoking?
Sorry?
What about smoking?
I did run away to go and smoke there.
What about rendezvous?
Yeah, well, what's a rendezvous?
Well, you tell me.
It was an all-boys school.
Well,
let's move on, Joshua. Anyway, the Angela Rayner has loosened the rules. Has loosened the rules.
Memories.
Oh, that's just trauma coming back there, just flooding back. Me and Lord Charles Spencer together with the boarding school abuse. Essentially, they're going to allow council-owned assets to be sold, which is a shame because it's about all they can do is enjoy the and the ability to play sport. Now they won't be able to because Angela says no.
Get rid of everything.
Yep.
Yeah, and
another little story here is Trump has dropped calls for Ukrainian election, which is now in full emperor mode. He's decided that maybe Ukraine shouldn't hold elections during a war, which he was so absolutely critical of before. And I think he's also remembered that he doesn't really like elections that much anyway.
No, they're an inconvenience.
Don't do anymore.
And then
annoying.
The Met officer in the Chris Cabba shooting, this is an innocent man might lose job. It's another cracking story in the way this country works. He's been found not guilty of murder by a jury of his peers, but in this country we go, that's not enough.
Yep.
Our justice system isn't good enough, so let's just take your job away anyway. This is the story that the Independent Office for Police Conduct is investigating Sergeant Martin Blake, who did kill Chris Cabba, who was a gangster, I believe.
Who was a gangster in a car that had been used in a robbery, and the other police officers said that they would have taken the shot, and basically you can be cleared and still condemned.
They're still condemned. It seems that should he have his livelihood taken away for doing something?
It says a lot for police doing that very, very difficult job.
Why would anyone be a policeman nowadays? Why would you sign up to be a policeman?
I tried to join the police.
Well, there we are, and that's why the police force is the best in the world. Because Josh Howie became a comedian instead.
They didn't let me in.
Sorry, that's my camera, isn't it? I'm upsetting the director by looking at the wrong camera. Hello.
What about... There's a story at the top, by the way, just You Called Your Baby What?, which is all about how grandparents are freaking out because the trend now is for kind of like individual one-off names. And there are actually baby naming experts you go to.
There are. I'm sorry, you can't pay... What's a joke?
No, what are you talking about? What kind of names?
What kind of job is that?
I could mention some of my children's names.
Yes.
It's how do you out-pretentious people living in North London?
Yeah, you want a name that no one else has got.
Names.
Yes.
I thought the story was You Called Your Baby What? I thought there was a baby called What
You took it too literal.
I did take it absolutely literal.
That's worrying.
Well, one of my children is called Zero.
Zero?
Zero, after Zero Mistel.
You haven't got a child called Zero?
I do.
God, you're like Elon Musk without the money. Loads of children and stupid names.
That's exact. They're all named after Jewish entertainers. But that is very funny.
It's good you're keeping them alive.
I'm trying not to swear at you. But that is funny. Let's have a look at some of the stories inside the newspapers. Let's start, Kerry, with The Times.
OK, sorry, you're going to introduce it.
No, just saying, is the art of the deal real?
I think it's more the art of the still.
Still real
going on. Yeah, peace through profit. What next? We're going to see Kiev on eBay. Ukraine hopes to sign US minerals deal within 24 hours. So the economy minister, whose name I'll let you pronounce it.
Yulia Sidrenko.
He sounds like the kind of person who turns up locked inside a suitcase in smart parts of London, doesn't he?
Yeah. Yes, and he's on his way to Washington right now to sign. The deal is happening, basically. Realistic. I mean, I think it's all.
Well, the gist of it was before is that they were going to take all the money until all the money was paid back. That's off the table now.
Yes.
So it is a better deal.
It's a better deal than it was.
And a lot of these minerals are in Russian territory. So the idea is it would give them.
What are these minerals?
Well, not Russian territory.
Is it enough to make a bottle of Highland Spring?
Russian-held territory, I should say.
Right, but what minerals are we getting here?
Lithium.
Lithium's a big one.
Lithium.
Yeah, we need lithium for batteries.
OK.
But it's supposed it would take a great investment to get this stuff out of the ground, but it does hold like a third of lithium in Europe, and so maybe this is maybe a bit more of a win-win than I thought initially when it sounded just terrible for the Ukrainian people.
I think it still sounds terrible for Ukrainian people overall, but at the same time, it's realistic. I mean, the term aftermath is really it's the after is maths. And that's where we're at right now. Wars start on maps and they end on a spreadsheet. And that's really where we're at. So, obviously, everyone wants to blame everybody for what's happening, but we want the war to stop.
OK, well, look, Archie needs to go to the toilet.
I do.
So we're going to go to a little break now. On Sunday, we have Free Speech Nation. Please come and join us. You can join our audience by scanning the QR code or visit gbnews.com/tickets. It's Sunday, 7 to 9 p.m. It was a cracking show last week. It's going to be a cracking show this week. OK, see you in a bit, Archie.
Please turn off my microphone.
See you guys in a couple of minutes. Bye. Or we'll have a look.
I'm Christopher Hope. From pop stars to politicians, I'll interview anybody in a pub who's got a political opinion. Join me every Friday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube or gbnews.com, or wherever you get your podcasts. This is GB News, the People's Channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
Well, joining us now is the Chief Scout at the Scouting Association, Dwayne Fields. Dwayne, welcome to the programme. Thank you for joining us. You must be delighted at the partnership with the Princess of Wales, and the video is you were in that creation.
Yeah, so good morning, first of all. Yes, I'm absolutely delighted with it. The Princess of Wales has been one of our joint presidents for some time now, and hopefully that will continue. There's no reason to think it won't. And I am delighted. Her platform allows for her to really basically become a megaphone for all the great things we do in Scouting. And there's no denying it. Every single week, we've got 500,000 young people and adult volunteers meeting, and they are learning, building friendships, learning those really important skills for life, having fun, like I said, making friendships. And they're doing all of this voluntarily. And just like I am, so is the Princess of Wales. What you've mentioned there, you know, the being at one with nature, being at peace in nature, I think it's really important for young people to spend time outdoors. We recognize from all the reports, and you yourself have even spoken about it, mental health issues that we have in society nowadays. Now, this isn't the silver bullet, but I think it is part of the solution. The more young people we can get to spend time in our natural spaces, I think the better we'll be, generally speaking, when we're talking about well-being. Now, in regards to what young people do in our scout groups, it could range from cooking to map reading to model making. Whatever skills the volunteer brings are the skills that we utilise in our groups.
I just don't think I would suit the shorts at my age, but that's it. But there's Dwayne.
Great in the necker.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Did you wash your hands? Welcome back to Headliners!
Yes, I did wash my hands. This is revolting.
So let's have a look at some front pages. We're going to start with The Guardian now. Kerry.
The Guardian, Kerry.
OK, then. Live brain tissue may help tackle dementia. So this is good news, hopeful and somewhat disgusting at the same time. It's like some sci-fi thing we're able to do now where we can take slices of human brain and keep them cultured like yoghurt in a jar and then do stuff with them. And it's some kind of like... we've learned something from Frankenstein movies eventually and realised it could help us.
Although I did notice that the photo of what is actually the sycamore tree being cut down is... I thought that was a picture of a live brain.
It's a pretty bad video, isn't it?
It's
Look at this
really
day and age.
bad.
What kind of phone was that filmed on?
Looks sort of a bit like sort of Monet. A little bit.
It's like a kind of, yeah.
All right, they've also got the Trump tariffs. Well, this is interesting because the US is not necessarily gone into recession yet, but the first 3 months of the year, their economic forecast has not been...
Well, this is obviously a Biden stock market. It's a Biden economy, as Trump has been saying. When it was doing well under Biden's presidency, it was absolutely clear. It was a Biden...
It's all Biden's fault.
So
I mean, we know it's Biden's fault because Trump said it's nothing to do with tariffs. He used capital letters.
Yeah, so it's true.
So it has to be.
When the stock market was doing well under Biden, Trump said this is a Trump stock market.
Yes,
now it's doing well badly under Trump. It's a Biden stock market. So there's not really much more to add to that. That's just a fact.
Yeah. The idea that it would have anything to do with tariffs, even though everybody said before he brought them in, don't do it, it's going to destroy the economy.
Shock as Trump
and then
doesn't take responsibility.
It destroyed the company.
That's a ridiculous suggestion. That's fake news. That's fake news. GB News is better than that.
To be fair, every leader blames the last leader. That's the norm, isn't it? You know, Obama would blame...
Yeah, but not every leader puts 140% tariffs on stuff.
I like it when the Tories are blaming the Tories.
It's a bit more like a performance artist specialising in economic interpretive dance at this point. But who would you expect him to blame? You wouldn't expect Trump to blame himself, would you? I mean, that would be really weird.
But he's got to... Well, OK, fine.
If Trump blamed himself, he would blame Biden for forcing him to do that.
I wanted him to
blame... he'd fire someone.
I wanted him to go old school and blame Hillary Clinton.
Yes, it could be her fault.
Using her...
It's nice that he's moved on.
phone or something.
Yeah, well, her phone... She is crooked, obviously. Very crooked.
Yes, exactly. So they're in a bit of recession. It's interesting. We obviously had a similar thing with Liz Truss. The markets rule us, essentially. Like, politicians will come in and say, I want to do this, and they'll try and implement it, and the market goes, nah, mate.
But isn't that a good thing?
Yes, to a degree.
Have you met Liz Truss? I think I'm glad there's some oversight. The fact is not just like one person or a donor or anything, it's just the market. I mean, I think that's probably a good thing.
Fair enough. What's the Express going with then?
The Express is going on His Majesty the King, who has released a personal statement about his cancer diagnosis and has said that we should all love deeply, which obviously he did to at least one woman, twice in fact, and emulate Dame... I'm making a Diana joke and you're looking at me like I shouldn't do that.
Was just...
You're like, God, you can't touch her.
It's not... Well, someone touched... But, Eric, the...
What?
Anyway...
Let's move on.
This shows to sell you to kills. And said that we should emulate Dame Deborah James, who obviously was Bal Babe on Instagram.
She was Bal Babe?
She called herself Bal Babe, but that's how she became famous.
She was very inspirational.
She was an incredible woman, actually, and she was made a dame by Prince William in the last throes of her too short a life.
It's also nice to see King Charles expressing emotion that's not about a tree, frankly, and I think he's more comfortable talking about bowel cancer than he is about his own brother and son.
Yes, I think absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
But it is amazing. I mean, the number of people who are going forward and getting tests and stuff as a result of what he's said and put out, and obviously the Princess of Wales as well. It has had a positive impact, even if you don't like the royal family.
And we saw some footage earlier in the news. He was standing there, he was talking to Jerry Halliwell, Ginger Spice, and then Richard E. Grant was standing, patiently waiting his turn, I thought. You know, and I thought that was nice.
Yep.
I just just all I can see.
What were you
Richard...
expecting Richard E. Grant to do?
I don't know, just be like, Jerry,
I'll tell you what I want, what I really want.
I've been waiting 10
You're
hours.
so easily pleased.
I don't know, I just thought he was very... I just admired how patient he was waiting there.
Well done, Richard E. Grant. I know him a little bit, and I will pass on your congratulations to him next time I see him.
Is there anybody you don't know who we've featured on the news?
Today's quite a good one for people, what I know, actually. But then again, I can hardly hear myself or feel myself move, so I'm in a kind of daze.
OK, well, look, let's have a look at some of the stories inside the newspapers. We're going to start now with a bank obeying the law. Shocker in The Guardian, Archie.
This is The Guardian. Barclays to bar trans women, that is also known as men, from using its female bathrooms. So this is in light of the Supreme Court ruling that I'm sure by now, if you've been watching GB News, you know almost nothing else. But it says that under the Equality Act, trans women are men and trans men are women. Essentially, biology matters. And the boss of Barclays has said it will ban trans women from using female bathrooms, which is a shame because in the old days, used to use female bathrooms an awful lot. If I went to a concert, to Justin Bieber concert, for example, and if there's a big queue for the men's, but none for the women's, before the ruling, I would just go and pretend to be a woman.
Excuse me. Why would the Justin Bieber concert have a larger queue?
I don't know, but it did. It
That
did. It doesn't make sense.
to
It
me.
should be the other way around, but it had, and so I just pretended to be a woman, and people couldn't question you. I use female loos all the time, but I can't now because it's illegal.
Well, here's the thing. The point isn't the point is that men don't have a right to do it anymore. You might be able to sneak in. Like if I'm at a comedy club and the men, I have to go on stage.
Here we go.
Here we are. Oh my God! Years of claiming that women don't feel safe in their spaces. Josh Howie has been. You are as bad.
If I'm in a coffee shop
and there's a queue.
But if I can't walk through the stage to get to the men. If all of the women, if I know that all the women, and I need a wee because I'm about to go on stage, I'm just saying I've done it. I'm not proud of it.
I think it's nice you've come out of the women's.
I think it's really nice. You finally admitted to the audience that you are actually a trans woman.
You know what? You're right. Before all this, people didn't really care that much.
No, I'm not that bothered.
A woman would come into a men's toilet and vice versa, and people largely didn't say it. Just became such a big deal and such a big obsession. But also, I'm kind of cynical about it's. You know, the bank in some ways is the first bank to do this, or the first big business in Britain, I think, doing this now. It's, you know, they're ringing the opening bell and the post-woke market correction. But the bank's position is whatever won't affect their share price this week. Do you know what I mean? I don't think that they'll put up a rainbow flag again tomorrow if the law changes. And
once again, the market rules.
Well, last week they were hosting drag brunches. This week
this is it. The market rules, and not only that, and certainly as a Barclays, it's all about insurance, is what I understand is, and you have to get public liability insurance. You have to follow the law, and if your bonds, if they're not going to be handing out, like allowing you to have insurance because you're breaking the law, then it's just going to force companies to do it. So they really don't have a choice in the matter. Barclays have just come out straight away and said, this is the way it's going to be. And as to the focus on toilets is because when these discussions have been going on over the last couple of years, and certainly on this channel, it's always been about prisons, sports, women's spaces, refuge centres, rape centres. Now it's happened. Suddenly, trans activists want to talk about toilets because that is the most.
Well, it's the kind of crux point in the middle of the Venn diagram where it's the fulcrum.
And what I'd be interested in is if women were to say, you know what, OK, let's let men come into the women's toilets. Are you telling me then that trans activists are suddenly going to go, well, OK, we won't do the sports, we won't do the prisons, and all of that stuff is matter? No, of course not. They're just using that to put all that through. Well, let's have a look at another story. We have Kerry the Telegraph having the press regulator calling murder terrorists hostages. So I'm going to call the press regulator impartial. That's how it works, right?
Yeah, may as well. Press regulator allows Palestinian prisoners in Israel to be called hostages. So they've gone, this is ipso, they've gone from upholding standards to upholding agendas, and basically they've declared that, I mean, does that mean all prisoners are hostages, or is it just if Israel does?
Well, Rose West is one of the greatest hostages we've got in this country.
What's that?
Rose West was a hostage.
She's a hostage.
She's a hostage.
Well, of course they're all
Wayne Couzens
now.
hostage.
I remember when the exchange was happening, and then there were people calling them hostages and so on. And then the people who went meticulously through all the people being released and said, no, this one blew up this number of people. This one blew up
this person.
This one stabbed that person. There was one point where, and I think it was, be careful, but I think it was the BBC who showed a picture of a woman who had a scarred face and said they finally let this scarred woman out of prison. It turned out she got that scarred face from trying to blow people up, and the policeman who stopped her, who is much more seriously scarred, he lost his job and is damaged for life and so on. So,
by the way, it has to be said that the BBC called them hostages, these prisoners, these terrorists.
And had to correct itself.
Yes, but that is another regulatory body. This is the press regulatory body.
Yes, totally.
Yeah, the BBC's covered by a different regulator.
They've gone from watchdog to lapdog, and this is not about semantics. It's about propaganda, and they're allowing for. I think it's disgraceful.
I think it's outrageous. Well, it's also just not an appropriate word. They're not hostages.
You can't compare a 9-month-old baby with an actual terrorist.
I might as well just
for them to
describe
make that kind of equivalence is
so as clowns. I mean, it's a joke.
Yeah. So anyway.
Well, there we go. Got a little bit serious there a second. But that's all right, isn't it? We're allowed to get serious a second. We'll get funny. We'll get funny again. Some stupid stuff after the break.
I still might die.
Anything that keeps you out of the women's toilet, Josh.
Yeah. Let's see if I can get away with it in this section. Come back. We're going to have a look at some more front pages, including the Times, and we have some more interesting stories. Lush. I don't know if you're aware of Lush, but they've been putting transgender propaganda leaflets in birthday party bags for girls as young as 7. My head's going to explode. Come back and see that in 2 minutes. This is Headliners.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits. You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it. That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless. But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show. Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
The royal family is an enduring symbol of tradition, unity and pride for Britain. At GB News, we celebrate what makes this country great. In our new royal newsletter series, you can join me, Cameron Walker, for Inside the Palace, an exclusive look every week that takes you beyond the gates and brings you the very latest from those at the heart of the monarchy. Never miss a royal moment again. Sign up now. Go to gbnews.com/royal newsletter and get the latest straight to your inbox.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it? Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Dubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
I'm Christopher Hope. From pop stars to politicians, I'll interview anybody in a pub who's got a political opinion. Join me every Friday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube or gbnews.com, or wherever you get your podcasts. This is GB News, the People's Channel.
Welcome back to Headliners. You stuck around. Thank you so much. And I'm going to reward you with a Kerry Marks talking about the Times.
What a prize.
Yes.
We're on.
Aren't you glad you didn't go to bed?
At the top left, it says, I don't care if a man does my mammogram.
Do you care if a man does your mammogram?
I don't know what that story's about, but I'm assuming it's more about NHS waiting lists, and no one cares who does anything anymore, as long as they get it done.
Basically, there's a shortage, and some people are saying, just let men do mammograms.
She's not saying with this any man, though, like one of us.
Yeah,
I think she
does
does
say,
need
I don't mind if
qualified.
Kerry Marks does my mammogram.
I don't want to do a mammogram. And then in the middle here, we have an interesting picture, which is, it looks like a magic eye painting.
It's Phil
but it
Jupitus, isn't it?
Is that, it looks like it is. Volunteers, including a yeoman warder, are planting 30,000 ceramic poppies in the Tower of London in celebration of 80 years since VE Day. But it says volunteers, and I can only see that one bloke, so maybe it is a magic eye painting. If you stare long enough, you see the other volunteers.
Well, that does look impressive. I might be tempted to go down and check that out. And the big story is about solar panels, which you love, don't you? That's your favourite story.
I'm really into solar panels, which, of course, been loads of problems with solar panels because it takes a tremendous amount of fossil fuels to make them, and they're made by cheap labour in China and then brought over here. But
well, some of them were made by slaves.
And
that
by
was one last week.
slaves as well, in fact.
Which is a good way. I mean, that's a very, very good way of making them cheaper.
Well, you won that
it's one of the best.
That came up. So it's good you remember.
Slaves are very environmentally friendly.
Yeah,
people don't talk
slaves
about
are environmentally friendly. They're cheap. There's a lot going for them.
Powered by sunlight and funded by fantasy, it seems. So yeah, we're going to have solar panels on all new homes in net zero push. Until Tony Blair comes out and says something about it, and Norway probably has a point of view. But
they pay for themselves within 4 years. It makes sense to do that. They're building these houses anyway. Force it through. They're going to make their money. 4,000 quid.
4,000 quid extra on a house? That's a lot.
No, I don't think it is. And
God
and
almighty, how he's got... You must have a big house.
Because when you're getting a mortgage anyway, you're paying over the others. But the point is, it pays for itself within a couple of years. And this is arguable. I think this is a good idea. The future. Look, solar power is the future. That's just the reality.
But your generation were buying houses for like £4.50. My generation...
What are you talking about? I'm living in an ex-council flat with 5 kids.
We've got no chance of buying a house, and you just made it £4,000 more.
Cheap back in those days.
Yeah, well, you've got 5 slaves then, haven't you? You could turn that into a little solar factory.
Yeah, but I know, that's my solar power.
Get them to work.
Put some bicycles on the roof connected to some turbine.
Get them going.
And then that's the way it is. Cool. All right, well, let's have a look at the iPaper then.
The iPaper is covering stories we've already covered, really, which is the King's message for fellow
there's something huge here about Naga
patients.
Munchetti.
And then I will go on to Naga Munchetti, who's everyone's least favourite BBC presenter. She says, and I quote, "I like sex, and I'm not embarrassed about it."
It's a good thing that she's not embarrassed about it.
Yes, I don't know whether this is her making a kind of public advert for sex. It seems to me that she's probably not getting any. Yeah, so I think really what she's done...
cheap today, special offer.
Yeah, I think this is Naga basically saying, look, I like sex, I'm not getting any, so I'll give an interview to the Eye where I say that, and hopefully men will write in.
Did someone ask her, do you think, or did she just come out and say...
It's a straight... What?
I just want everyone to know.
What interview question is that the appropriate answer?
Do you like sex?
Do you like sex?
What do you think of net zero?
I like sex, and I'm not ashamed to say it.
That's going to be my new go-to answer for everything.
Yeah, I like sex.
Exactly.
Yeah, Josh, how are you today?
I like sex. And you know what, Archie?
The next story is about the King's message. I'm almost afraid to read it.
Talking of liking sex...
I agree with Naga.
Tony Blair is there after he put his foot in it on net zero. And then apparently we're going to have a hosepipe ban, which is a very big problem for those with very large gardens.
Well, it actually says it looms. It doesn't say we're going to have one yet. The
parents.
hosepipe ban looms. I think this time of year, or whenever it starts getting hot, we're always told there's going to be a hosepipe ban.
Yeah.
It's automatic. De rigueur.
All right, well, let's have a look at some of the newspaper stories inside the newspapers. The Mail, Archie, and a smelly soap company stinks.
So this is the Daily Mail. Lush puts transgender propaganda leaflets in birthday party bags for girls as young as 7, claiming there is a global conspiracy against trans people. So I'm sure the ladies and gentlemen at home have, if you've not seen Lush, you'd have smelt it as you walk around. They always leave their doors open.
Can't escape it.
It's absolutely vile. It is probably the worst shop on the high street. I don't know why, as the high street kind of collapses, Lush wasn't first, because at the moment all that high streets are is Turkish barber shops and Lush shops. And anyway, they had a birthday party for some 7-year-olds.
Well, I think it was a birthday party for the shops.
For the shops.
There were kids up to
7 going there. 24-page booklet that genuinely compared Americans' trans policies to that of the Nazis.
Yeah, to the Holocaust, basically.
To the Holocaust. It said that Adolf Hitler destroyed the world's first gender clinic. He did some other stuff as well, which might be worth remarking on. I mean, that was obviously,
It's incredible about how trans activists have tried to make the Holocaust about themselves.
It's amazing.
It's sort of when the reality is that Nazis were actually massive cross-dressers.
Yeah.
They were super duper into it.
And they loved their uniforms.
They also, by the way, have a pretty, without going into details, a pretty bad reputation with making soap. I think that's relevant to point out.
I think that's relevant to point out. I think
don't know what you're talking about.
It's harsh, but...
yeah. I would... yeah, so you're saying if there's a soap company...
The soap bar made out of Jews would be quite...
Yeah.
Oh, Christ, right.
You don't want to be making that connection, I think.
I'm going to spell it. I'm going to have to spell it out now and give you a recipe. Look, in my day, party bags contained sweets and toys, and now they seem to come with a manifesto.
Yeah.
And Lush really about washing kids and washing their minds at the same time. So it's extraordinary. Why can't anyone stay in their lane anymore?
That's my point.
Why can't banks do banking and ice cream vendors do ice cream?
Why do I need to have politics from the people who I wash my armpits with?
Also, when it says that it's propaganda, the stuff...
It's all revelations tonight. Josh and his women's toilets, you and your armpits.
The stuff in this leaflet is like... They're saying there's a global conspiracy against it. It's flat earthism.
Also, do they know what a conspiracy even is? Does anyone know anymore? If you're seeing this as a global conspiracy, and it's... we're in a weird age. There is a conspiracy, and it's to make everyone smell of Lush.
Yeah, well, they're pushing an ideology that is based on falsehoods. They're basically saying, all the people are coming out against it. It's not because there's some global conspiracy. It's because people are going, well, you know what? Human beings cannot change sex. Sex is binary, and a woman is an adult human female. That is not some insane Nazi right-wing conspiracy.
Well, hopefully the markets will do its thing, and Lush will soon be gone.
They're idiots, Josh.
Yeah.
No, but I go, why can't they just sell soap?
Just sell soap.
Just get on with it and sell soap.
On to The Guardian, Kerry. And how many fingers am I holding up?
Well, are you asking me, or would you like to know from Donald Trump?
No, how many fingers am I holding up?
I see 4, Josh.
No!
What are you going to tell me?
How many fingers am I holding up, Kerry?
OK, do you want to have a go at this? Because I don't really understand the game.
No, I think 4.
It's a break. You haven't watched that.
4 and it's...
OK, it's...
What?
3. I'm holding up 3 fingers, but the point is...
But you're not. You're holding up 4 fingers, I can see that.
OK, I don't think you understand how this game works.
It's about a doctored photo.
It's not about dog photo.
It's about 1984.
It's about brainwashing someone. Yes, exactly.
That's what I thought, but that wasn't 4 fingers, was it?
How many fingers was it?
I don't know, but I didn't feel that connection.
Was it 84 fingers? Is that why it's called 1984?
Yeah, it was 84
It was 84 fingers and it was 19 in reality. Is that what it is?
I'm going to have to reread it. I can't remember how many fingers it was.
I read the
I
read the pass notes.
No, it was 6 fingers.
6 fingers, OK.
Yeah, trust me.
84 fingers!
You will see 6 fingers. This is Trump. Trump pressures journalists to... So this Trump... I'll read the headline first. Pressures journalists to accept doctored photo as real. Why don't you just say yes, said Trump. And this was about a photo of the Salvadorian man living in Maryland, Kilmar Abrejo Garcia. How do I do?
Well done.
What's his gang name?
It's
like R2D2,
we're not allowed to say it. And he insisted that Garcia had the MS-13 tattoo on his knuckles, and that was a genuine photo, which it's not a genuine photo. So sounding more like, got the world's most powerful man, sounding like a Me Too villain, saying, just say yes.
What do you say, Archie, would you say... Oh, yeah, no, I think it is a real photo, Mr.
No, I think this is good news. It's the kind of opposite of what Prince Andrew's been doing, isn't it? Which is to kind of claim a photo was doctored. So
he's your mate.
Well, I'm not mates with Prince Andrew. But yeah, it's extraordinary. This well worth the boys and girls at home watching the clip.
Yeah.
Because he's told in his doctorate, and he goes, no, and it obviously is. It's like such an extraordinary ability to just defy reality.
Yeah, it's amazing. He really is wildly. He can stare right into a camera and say that's not true, when you know he's wrong.
You just know he's wrong. And then he attacks a journalist going, well, I only chose you because I've never heard of you. Which is amazing.
I thought you would just say, yes, that photo is definitely...
And then he says to the guy that you do fake news and you're the worst.
Yeah.
He's
an amazing man. God bless him.
Really, so, yes.
Right, well, we have one more section to go. We've got some really funny stories. You do not want to go to bed yet. We also have the front page of The Star. You want to come back and see that. And you're also good. What else are we going to have? We got, you know what, actually, this is quite exciting. There's one here about the eyelashes shaving.
Yes.
People want to come back.
You want to come back and work out why you need to shave your eyelashes. We're going to do it. We're going to shave Carrie's eyelashes live on air.
You find them.
That's worth it. OK, this is Headliners, only on GB News.
You're looking happy.
Well, the forecast looks good.
So you've sorted the travel insurance then?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast. Hi there. If you've got plans to head south for some sunshine, well, you will find some in Spain where it will be a mix of sunny spells and showers, but it's very blustery still across Greece and into Cyprus. Some thunderstorms for Cyprus, although becoming less windy for the Greek islands compared with the last few days. Italy's looking very nice indeed, and Spain, Portugal, less wet compared with the last couple of days. Just a mix of sunny spells and showers. Most places seeing decent sunny spells into the weekend.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hi there and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. Turning even hotter in the south during the next 24 hours, but at the same time, cooler air spreads into northern parts of the country, and along the boundary between the heat in the south and the cooler air coming in from the north, we've got the chance of a few showers, even the odd thunderstorm. So high pressure clings on, many places fine as we go through the evening, but the first sign of that change across the northwest of Scotland. Showery rain turning up, pushing into Northern Ireland during the early hours, heading into the central belt, as well as the south of Scotland by the end of the night. England and Wales, though, stays clear, stays dry and stays warm in many places overnight. A few colder spots where we've got some shelter, but actually for many it is going to be a relatively uncomfortable, muggy night. We start off Thursday with the showery rain across much of Scotland, hit and miss downpours, the potential for some heavy downpours across the south of Scotland and into Northern Ireland as the morning progresses. At the start of the day, that's still to reach England and Wales, and so we start things off here with plenty of sunny skies and temperatures very quickly rising. We're going to reach the mid to high 20s by the middle of the afternoon across a large part of the south and central UK. But for Scotland and Northern Ireland, it's a very different story. As a weather front moves south, it will bring a thickening of the cloud, and it will reach parts of the far north of England and southern Scotland by mid-afternoon, with the risk of thunderstorms along that. Cooler air arrives into the rest of Scotland and Northern Ireland, a marked drop in temperatures compared with recent days, but further south, mid to high 20s. Top temperature 29 Celsius. Could spark a thunderstorm or two in the south, but that's all cleared through by Friday. And Friday is still a very warm day in the south and southeast, plenty of sunshine. The rest of the country, however, will see the temperatures drop as cooler air arrives from the northwest. We've got that cooler air in place for the bank holiday weekend, but still plenty of fine weather.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. That's State of the Nation every Monday and Tuesday at 8 o'clock, only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Tomorrow, voters across England go to the polls.
In a series of council elections,
mayoral elections, and one crucial by-election.
They'll vote on the local issues that matter to them and let the parties know where they stand.
We'll be here throughout the night.
Live around the country.
As the first results come in.
And from 6 a.m. on Friday morning, as it all becomes clearer, we'll be here to discuss what it means for you.
Vote 2025, the people decide, from 11 o'clock tomorrow night.
Only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Headliners. We're going to start off with the Mirror, Archie.
The Mirror has £10 off at Boots if you don't want to spend your money at Lush.
OK, let's go to the Daily Star.
There's a picture of Nessie is real, apparently, and there's a picture of Loch Ness Monster, which I know is real because I've seen a pretty similar picture in my bath. I'm top of the Pope. You can't be Pope.
But was it dead?
And lots of people come every year to see if it is real.
After we wrestled for a while, yeah.
Did someone try and choke it?
Basically, Trump wants to be the Pope.
Which he can be. If you're a baptised Catholic, you can be the Pope.
Yeah, and it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, don't be a cardinal.
Surprise me.
I think it'd be great. He'd be a Pope and President.
No. All right, well, let's have a look at some of the funniest stories inside the newspapers. The Mail, Kerry, and who wants to get fired?
Yes, star of J.K. Rowling's new anti-woke HBO star Harry Potter show turns on her in pro-trans open letter. It's a long headline. In pro-trans open letter signed by A-listers who have starred. Why do you make us read the whole headline, Josh?
Well, I don't know.
Sometimes it's really long and it's not.
Basically, they're betraying J.K. Rowling.
Sidhu, I believe it's pronounced, who's been cast as Severus Snape, who's I mean, don't take the money. Don't take the money. So he's against... I think it's all quite amusing. J.K. Rowling's created this world of witches and wizards and now finds herself in this constant witch hunt herself. And people who think anatomy is a social construct are absolutely mad with her. The bit that really sparked them was after the Supreme Court's decision, when she had a picture of herself on a boat with a cigar, saying, "I love it when a plan comes together."
Reference to the A-Team.
But whether you agree with her or not, what do you expect of a gender-critical feminist? What did they think she was going to say? Oops, I was only joking.
No.
Sorry, just a bit of fun.
I protected human rights.
Yeah.
I protected my rights. That's fair enough. I think it's interesting they refer to this as the anti-woke HBO Harry Potter. I haven't seen any evidence of it being anti-woke.
Well, I haven't seen,
it's just going to be a direct...
Well, it doesn't sound very anti-woke.
It's a multi-million-pound project.
Billion, I imagine.
Well, billion, yeah. I think it'll just flop, probably. Because the only stories I am ever reading about this project is to do with trans issues. No one's talking about what's in it.
The kids are still reading it. It's going to get a whole other generation into it.
Maybe.
But for him to come out, I wonder if he's going to get fired, essentially, because she's already been betrayed by the other members of the cast from the previous...
Apart from Tom Felton.
Apart from Tom Felton, who has actually got a little job.
She's not done very well with casting, has she? I mean, does she? I assume she doesn't actually have any say in the casting.
Well, this is, by the way, there's a lot of actors on this list. There's hundreds of them, I think, and they're just all idiots. They're all absolute idiots. The Supreme Court ruling is not against trans people. It's
explicitly
the rights of trans people. It just says that women are women and should have their spaces as well. That's all it says.
But I think they're willfully
No, of course they are.
I mean, they're not that stupid.
Idiots! Idiots! Right, we have one more story to go. Times, Kerry, and I'd like some hair on my head left, please.
Does eyelash shaving make you more masculine? Many men think so. This is like a new thing that started. Some barber offered to shave someone's eyelashes, which happened to me the other day, by the way. A barber offered to shave asked if one of my eyebrows shaved. Look at my eyebrows.
You said yes, didn't you?
You said no,
you shaved them off totally.
This before. This is like, it never even... what are you even doing? I've always thought vanity is not particularly masculine.
No, but having long eyelashes is seen as being feminine.
Yeah.
And so people now, men want to be like, look how masculine I am with my
ideas, you know. Barbers are like, what else can be cut?
No nasal hair, ear hair. Would you do this?
I have to say no. I wouldn't do this. No, I like my eyelashes as they are.
Okay. Well, I tried it earlier, and unfortunately, I got myself in the eye, which is why they're red.
Do you ever go to the hairdressers though, or not?
I do it myself.
You do it yourself.
Thank you
so that's
so much.
a large saving, isn't it? That's an advantage.
Let's take another quick look
That's
at
amazing.
Thursday's front pages. Guardian. US downturn amid Trump tariffs trigger fears of global slowdown. Times. Solar panels on all new homes. The Eye. The King's message of hope. Daily Mail. Now unions reject Ed's green lunacy. The Express. King's gratitude for community. And the Daily Star. I'm top of the Popes. That's all we have time for. Thank you very much to Kerry Marks and Archie Manners.
I survived.
We're not going to be here tomorrow because Tom Harwood's going to be here from 11 p.m. bringing you a special overnight show covering the local elections.
We like Tom Harwood.
You don't want to miss it.
We like Tom Harwood.
But see you soon. Bye.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Hi there and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. Turning even hotter in the south during the next 24 hours, but at the same time, cooler air spreads into northern parts of the country, and along the boundary between the heat in the south and the cooler air coming in from the north, we've got the chance of a few showers, even the odd thunderstorm. So high pressure clings on, many places fine as we go through the evening, but the first sign of that change across the northwest of Scotland. Showery rain turning up, pushing into Northern Ireland during the early hours, heading into the central belt, as well as the south of Scotland by the end of the night. England and Wales, though, stays clear, stays dry and stays warm in many places overnight. A few colder spots where we've got some shelter, but actually for many it is going to be a relatively uncomfortable, muggy night. We start off Thursday with the showery rain across much of Scotland, hit and miss downpours, the potential for some heavy downpours across the south of Scotland and into Northern Ireland as the morning progresses. At the start of the day, that's still to reach England and Wales, and so we start things off here with plenty of sunny skies and temperatures very quickly rising. We're going to reach the mid to high 20s by the middle of the afternoon across a large part of the south and central UK. But for Scotland and Northern Ireland, it's a very different story. As a weather front moves south, it will bring a thickening of the cloud, and it will reach parts of the far north of England and southern Scotland by mid-afternoon, with the risk of thunderstorms along that. Cooler air arrives into the rest of Scotland and Northern Ireland, a marked drop in temperatures compared with recent days, but further south, mid to high 20s. Top temperature 29 Celsius. Could spark a thunderstorm or two in the south, but that's all cleared through by Friday. And Friday is still a very warm day in the south and southeast, plenty of sunshine. The rest of the country, however, will see the temperatures drop as cooler air arrives from the northwest. We've got that cooler air in place for the bank holiday weekend, but still plenty of fine weather.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Courtesy of Marquis Leisure, you could be driving away with this brand new Elnag Baron 560 motorhome. It comfortably sleeps 4, comes with sky roof, integrated kitchen and bathroom, and is worth over £67,000. And that's not all, as we'll also give you a further £5,000 in tax-free cash to make sure that wherever this motorhome takes you, it takes you there in style. For another chance to win the lot, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB13 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 6th of June. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date. Or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dordmead, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Hello there, it's 6 o'clock. I'm Michelle Dewberry, and this is Jubes & Co. Coming up tonight, the King has a message for everyone whose life has been impacted by cancer. I'll bring you that. And get this, the UK has launched airstrikes in Yemen, and it was the first strike since Donald Trump was re-elected. But, and this is a massive but, because you guessed it, there was no parliamentary vote. Didn't Keir Starmer previously promise that he would have done exactly that? And house prices have fallen, so I'm asking you a simple question. Would it be a good thing for that to continue? And speaking about Keir Starmer, listen to this.
Crush it, smash it, move it, lift it.
Well, if you don't have young kids, you won't even know what on earth that is. But Keir Starmer seems to be taking inspiration from dino trucks today because, apparently, if a vehicle is involved in fly tipping, he promises to... Interesting. Let's talk about that. We've got a lot to discuss, but before we get stuck in, let's cross live and give you your 6 o'clock news headlines.
Michelle, thank you and good evening. I'm Katie Bowen. These are your top stories at 1 minute past 6. US